Hello friends, welcome to my channel SDET Interview Preparation. So today I will be going to tell you about the factory design pattern in Selenium framework. So this framework helps you in managing different browsers like Chrome, Firefox in a very professional and scalable way. So you could see here a very clean folder structure. So inside this RC main Java, I have a base folder, then a base test class with a factory, the driver factory class, config with a config.properties and tests with a test Google search. So basically driver factory, if I talk about, so this is a factory class that gives browser drivers. So for that reason we took this here. If I talk about the base test here, so base test basically base class to set up and quit the browser. And if I talk about this test Google search, so this is your real test case. That is, I will be going to search something on Google and then I will be going to click on search button. And finally, we have the config.properties file. So this is, you can assume it as a placeholder for setting the browser name, which can be extended. So now I will be going to start with a driver factory class. So I will be going to implement it and then I will be just typing it here and then I will be going to explain you each and everything what I did here. So very first thing is public void, we will initialize driver. Initialize driver and here we will pass one browser name. And we'll just give WebDriver driver equals none. So let us import the necessary library for this. Import org.openqa.selenium.star. Perfect. Now I will be going to put some conditions here. So if browser name dot equals ignore case Chrome, driver equals new Chrome driver, else if browser name dot equals ignore case Firefox, here we initialize driver equals new Firefox driver, else gonna print invalid browser name. Fine. And finally we return driver here. Fine. Now here what we did team. So see, I'm going to explain you line by line. So this package factory. So this file belongs to the factory folder that is called a package in Java. So think of this like putting files into a label drawers. Okay. Now I've just imported org.openqa.selenium.star, org.openqa.selenium.chrome.chrome driver.firefox driver. So these lines tells Java, hey, I need to use some tools from the Selenium library, like using tools from a toolbox. Fine. Now public class driver factory. So we are creating a factory that is driver factory like a vending machine. So which gives us a browser driver when asked. Now public WebDriver initialize the driver with a string browser name. So this initialize driver So this is a method that takes a browser name, example Chrome, and give back the correct browser. Fine. Now WebDriver driver equals null. So at first we don't know which browser, so we just keep it empty. And if browser name dot equal ignore case Chrome, so it creates a Chrome browser using Chrome driver. Else if the input is Firefox, create a Firefox driver using Firefox driver. Else if something else is given, we show an like a message that is invalid browser name. And finally we will going to return the driver which gives back the browser so other classes can use it. Now we'll just move on to our base test class. Fine. So in our base test, we give WebDriver driver import org.openqa Selenium .star and DriverFactory div. Now I will set up public void setup here df equals new driver factory and driver equals df dot initialize driver, and I will be giving a Chrome. Fine. And driver dot get. So I am taking for now teamgoogle.com. So https://www.google.com. Fine. And so let's keep this as @before method. And public void tear down and here I can quit. Here I can give @after method. Fine. I have mentioned there okay, I have not saved the file, sorry. Now this is fine. So yeah, so just moving ahead team now, let me give one more helper method here, that is public WebDriver get driver return driver. So we have small typo mistake. Okay. Now you would see here if like package base is mentioned here. So this file is in the base folder like a base room where setup happens. Then I've just imported all these. So we import Selenium and TestNG, tools to do browser testing, then public class base test, that is a parent class that all tests can use, handle setup and cleanup. And now moving ahead, WebDriver driver, DriverFactory DF. So we are basically preparing two things, one for the browser and one for the factory that creates it. Now @before method, as you all know, this tells TestNG run this code before each test method. So this will be going to run before each test method. Now what test method? Whenever we write any test script, so we just mention it with @test. So it will be going to run before each @test method. Now inside this, if you see driver, df is equal to new driver factory. So we are creating a driver factory here, and driver is equal to df dot initialize driver. So I'm just initializing that I want to initialize the Chrome, and then I want to open in a Chrome or google.com. And finally driver.quit, basically we are trying to close the browser, and that is actually important to free the memory. And finally, I have just created one public WebDriver get driver. This is basically a helper method so that child test classes can use the driver easily. Fine. Now, moving ahead, I will be going to write my test script. So just going to the test Google search. Quickly, I will be going to write public void test Google search. Need not go with any sort of constructor here, just simple Google search test. We'll be going to extend base test here. So base test will be our parent class. Now inside the Google search test, let us open our Chrome, quickly open the google.com, right click, inspect. So I could see here the attribute name with its value q, and let's quickly see for the Google search also. For this name is this is named as button k, btnk. Okay, so accordingly we'll create our very quickly XPath. So get driver dot find element by dot name q, fine, dot send keys. I want to send, for example, country keyword. Fine. Then I'm just applying a static weight for now, but don't worry, I will be using dynamic weight in my future videos. So 2000 milliseconds. 2000 milliseconds basically is like 2 seconds. This is just to show you all, to make it a bit slower, so that in a UI at least you should be able to get what's going on. Now again, get driver dot find element. This time I need to click on button, so that was btnk dot click. And again one very small 2 seconds wait. So here we can keep, this is our test script. So as I told you, we'll be locating test annotation here, denoting this by test annotation. Perfect. So in this, now you could see package tests. So this file is in the test folder where real test cases live. Then extends base test. Why I use this? Basically, it is inheriting the setup and tear down from the base test. You remember I have just put the setup and tear down. I just wanted to import that. Now, then at the rate test, basically this is the main test method that test-ng will run. So if you see here this get driver, so this fetches the browser created in the base test dot find element by dot name q. So this find the Google search box dot send keys country. So this basically type the word country into the search box, then thread dot sleep, again 2 seconds, then dot click, and then again I just put a very small sleep. Finally, moving to our config.properties file, here we can mention browser equals Chrome. So this is key. Corresponding to that, the value is Chrome. So this file is not used yet, but we can extend our code to read the browser name from here instead of hard coding it in the base test. No worries, we'll be using it soon. So now finally, we have used few components here. Now first component, we have used DriverFactory here. So quickly, just to summarize this, it creates a browser on demand like Chrome or Firefox. Then there is a base test class. So this handles basically browser setup and closing for each test. Then there is a test Google search. So this is basically a real test that opens Google and searches for country. And then config.properties is basically the external config file for future enhancements. For example, handling dynamic browser settings. So if I talk about say execution flows or test.ng, basically this is our test.ng file. So already mentioned the test.test Google search here. So basically it first calls the base test.setup, launches the Chrome, opens the Google, then the test runs, types country, then click search. After the test is done, base test.teardown, that is basically closes the browser. So let's see. Let's run this and see. Okay. It launches the browser. Let us run directly from test Google search. Run as test. Okay, so let us see where we are lagging behind. See, this is the problem. Okay, let's run it. It launched the URL country. Okay, it clicked on search button, it opened that, and finally it closed the browser. So this was as expected. So I hope you liked this session, you enjoyed this session, and basically you are able to get what is factory design pattern, what's the use of this in Selenium automation framework. So stay tuned for more videos. Do like, do subscribe, and do remember, the more you practice, the more perfection you will achieve and more confidence you will get. Thank you everyone.